go. We're good to go. All right, so bell ringer for today. It's been a while. What, since Tuesday, I guess, when we talked about Monday. Oh, yeah, Tuesday we had, I got to go over that quiz. How about I do that tomorrow? Does that work?
Do we have any for Tuesday or Wednesday?
No, I don't think so. We have one for Monday, which I'll share it to you then. Yeah, I'll get it for you. So describe how a neuron connects and sends information to another neuron. There you go. So all the way back since Monday, because Tuesday we had the neuron quiz, Wednesday, obviously Veterans Day. So we wanted to pay tribute to that. Important, very important. Today we're going to talk about the nervous system. And get working on your activity. And that'll be it. I think 40. Good stuff, huh? Yeah. Real good stuff. I watched a Thanksgiving movie last night. Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Thanksgiving movie?
Yep. Black Friday, it talks about it, so consider it a Thanksgiving movie. What's your favorite Thanksgiving movie? Willy Wonka? You don't know? One of my favorite ones is Spider-Man 1. They have a Thanksgiving scene, so, right? Yeah. Green Goblin sitting at the table. Where'd you get that cut? Bike Messenger. Clip me.
I haven't watched those old Spider-Man movies forever.
Oh,
Those are the best ones.
they're really good. That's when Norman goes off about Mary Jane. You know what? Dumb. Harry's like, what's going on? You ruined Thanksgiving.
So we didn't have any Tuesday or Wednesday?
No. Oh, yeah, here, let me get that.
I have the one.
Oh, you do? Okay, good, good. How'd you get it? Go back to the video.
I was here Monday.
All right, yeah, that's right.
I just wasn't here.
Get another view on that video. You know what, for me?
I'll go watch it just to get your revenue in.
My view there, yeah. Top trending on YouTube. Yeah, Rob James. No, he has me DM him. I told him just subscribe, subscribe to it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just,
going to do a collab video and you said no.
yeah, I told him just
Too famous for him.
hold off, yeah. He keeps asking me to come teach at a school that he created, but, just gonna, yeah. It's like, hey, I don't play basketball. All right, any more time? Yeah, one more time. A little bit more time. How about one more minute? 2 more minutes.
When is the vocab due?
Good question. I don't know yet. All righty. You ready to go over this? So describe how a neuron connects and sends information to another neuron. So what part of the neuron is connecting to another neuron? What do we have? What two parts do we talk about specifically? What's the receiver part of the neuron? TC? The dendrite. Yeah, good job. And that connects to another neuron's what? That sends information to the dendrite. Axon. Terminal. Yep, good job. So they branch off the axon. Good. So action potential happens, right? Which we know that's sending the the signal, the electrical charge down the axon from the soma up to the axon terminals to connect to another dendrite. But did they actually connect? No, Cody. What is that called? That space between the dendrite and the axon terminal. Synapse. Yep, good job. So there's a synaptic cleft that happens, right? And then we have what? What are they called? Those sacs of neurotransmitters that are sent to the dendrite to another axon terminal. What's that called, Lily? Yeah, synaptic vesicles, right? And then they burst, right? Kind of burst, and the neurotransmitters are received by another neuron. It's like a lock and key, right? And what happens if that lock doesn't fit, or that key doesn't fit the lock? What happens to those neurotransmitters? Most of them, anyway. What happens to them? Rebecca? Yeah, reuptake. Good job. And what is reuptake? Yeah, good job. So they get reabsorbed into the dendrite, right, into the neuron that is sending the information, right? So it gets taken back up, hopefully be sent again to another neuron through action potential. Hopefully that's the case, right? Good job. All right, so synapse, make sure you remember that. That is that space between the dendrite and the axon terminal where that information is being received. They don't actually touch, okay? They don't actually touch. All right, so that's kind of what it looks like. We remember that, the direction of impulse. Okay, we have the presynaptic membrane, synaptic vesicle, exploding, right, neurotransmitters, sending into the synapse, okay, and postsynaptic cleft that receive those information, receives that neurotransmitters, okay, and if they're not received, then they go into a process called reuptake into the presynaptic membrane. All right, good. We good with that? You know how they connect? All right, good. Again, we'll go over the quiz tomorrow. I want to make sure you get your work on your activity. We'll go over that as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about the brain tomorrow. Just introduce it, I guess. And then we'll talk more next week of the parts of the brain. All right, cool. Good stuff. All right, I'm thinking vocab next week, towards the end of next week. We'll have a quiz on the brain, and then I'll have the vocab due for next week towards the end. How about Thursday? Maybe Friday we'll have the quiz. That seems like a good idea. All right, let's do that. So I'll work on vocab right now. Give you some time. How about a song? And we'll move on today with the nervous system. Were you just at the bathroom? Oh, no, you were coming late, weren't you? Yeah, go ahead. The Beatles. I think 40. Good stuff. Oh, man, someone's going nuts back there. Getting messages. Is that you, Dom? Nice. All right, the Beatles, done. Good. All right, moving on today. We're going to talk about the nervous system, okay, the basic parts of it. And then, yeah, that'll be it for today. I'll get you working on the activity. We'll have a video first and then the activity. All right, so real quick, types of neurons. What do we have? The types of neurons. Before we move on, what types of neurons do we have? So let's start off with the neurons that send information to the brain. What are they called? Megan?
Sensory neurons?
Yeah, sensory neurons. Good job. And we know the other name for them, afferent neurons. Okay. What about the neurons that send information from the brain to the rest of the body? Dom, remember? Yeah. Good job. Motor neurons, efferent neurons. Good. Good job. And then finally, the neurons that connect the sensory neurons and motor neurons together. The afferent and afferent neurons. The efferent neurons. What do we have? What are they called? Lily? Interneurons. Yep. Good job. Good job. When I think of the neuron, we did an activity in college one time. It was a little weird. I won't do it in here, and it'd be hard to do it, I guess, with COVID and everything. But they did a conga line. You guys know what a conga line is? Yeah, like those old weddings and stuff. People get in the line. They're like, they like move their legs and arms out. It's kind of funny. So that's one way we kind of simulated how neurons connect and the information traveling along down it. I think that was pretty cool. But I won't have these do it in here. I thought it was pretty funny though when we did it in college. It's neat. All right. So we went over those types of neurons. Make sure you remember those. Okay. And we had a quiz on it, so you should be good. Again, I'll go over the quiz tomorrow. All right. So nervous system. Okay. We're going to talk about two structures of the nervous system. First, we have the central nervous system. Okay. I'll write up on the board here so we can see a little better. Nervous system, right? We have the central nervous system, and that includes the brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Then we have the peripheral nervous system. And they include our nerves, right? And how we respond to certain things, including the sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. Okay. And with the peripheral nervous system, it breaks down into different sections, which we'll talk about today. But make sure you remember the two major components, right? We have the central nervous system containing the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, you can just put two little branches off the central nervous system, they include the brain and the spinal cord. And we have the peripheral nervous system. We'll talk about the branches that stem off of that. So the central nervous system, all right, we know that as really just our spinal cord and our brain, okay, and we know that protects it, right, our nerves, okay. We all know that if you sever the nervous system and spinal cord, it can cause paralysis because that helps with our movements, okay, involuntary and voluntary movements, depending how severe, let's say, the sever is in an accident it might be. Right, TC? Yeah, okay. So with the central nervous system, important, the human body, they're encased in bone for protection, okay, support for evolutionary psychologists, right? Okay, we know we already talked about the evolutionary form of psychology and perspective and how that is relatable to many different types of species and you know how our body is really composed and made up of. All right, so peripheral nervous system. It contains all the nerves which feed into the brain and the spinal cord. So, like I mentioned, central, brain, spinal cord, and we can just put up here nerves. Okay. And we talk about the types of neurons within our body and how that works and how that information is sent to the brain, away from the brain, and how they connect together. I think we're pretty good with that. All right, so that's the other branch of the nervous system I'd like you to know, peripheral nervous system. And we'll talk about real quick how it breaks down into other sections. You guys good with that? Yeah. All right. So then we have the somatic nervous system and the autonomic. So somatic, okay, that deals with voluntary movements. Okay, so I'm just going to put somatic here and voluntary movements underneath so I can help understand that a little bit better. So that's just movements like, I don't know, if you're driving down the street, you're going real fast, you want to put your foot to the pedal and move as quick as possible, right? So voluntary movements. Yeah, so anything else too, like practice, right? We're doing things at practice. We're shooting a basketball, throwing a football. Okay, it might be taking a shot in wrestling, whatever it might be. These are voluntary movements. Okay, so obviously we know the skeletal muscles, okay, how that moves, and the motor neurons connecting to perform these movements. Okay, and obviously know with reflexes, reactions, there's different things that help us do these things without even actually alerting the brain with reflexes. Which I think is pretty interesting. It's like even with reflexes, there's many different types of movements that we don't have to think about. It just happens automatically, and our brain doesn't actually receive those messages or those impulses. Okay, afterwards, yeah, we think about it. Like, you ever go to the doctor, they hit you, they tap you right underneath the knee. You have those movements, yeah. Okay, we don't have to think about it. We don't try it. They're just reflexes, right? That information doesn't get sent to our brain. Then we have the autonomic. Okay, autonomic system. So involuntary. The involuntary movements. So this controls glands, right? Okay, and muscles and the internal organs such as heart, our heartbeat, okay, blood pressure. We don't have to think about these types of movements. They just happen automatically. Okay, like sweating. Our involuntary movements such as, I don't know, maybe going to the bathroom. In some cases, we have to really push harder, but I'm just kidding, right? But yeah, with our autonomic system, okay, these are things that happen that we don't really have to think about. They just happen automatically. That's a good way to remember it. Autonomic happens automatically, involuntary movements. We don't have to think about it too much. We're just talking about the nervous system right now. So we have the central nervous system. Okay, that's the one main branch, and the other one is the peripheral nervous system. Then it breaks down into somatic. So voluntary movements like shooting a basketball. I said one other one, which I won't mention again. And then autonomic. Okay, it happens automatically. So involuntary movements. And then that breaks down the autonomic system into two different parts as well. Okay, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. All right, so from the autonomic system, okay, which is involuntary movements, which we described, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. All right, so sympathetic is like excitatory motions, okay? This is like your fight or flight. You guys ever hear that before? Yeah, so your fight or flight. I'll just put that in parentheses right here. Fight or flight. So this increases blood pressure, right? This increases our heart rate. So this might be something that we might be nervous about, okay? It might be an upcoming exam. It might be the lights of a cop car in your back window. Whatever it might be, right? Yeah, so something along those lines to get excited. Maybe drinking a bang right before your motocross, race. Trying to get excited. Blood pressure increases, our heart rate increases, and depending what types of experiences we're going through. Okay, I know with food, right, Cody? Start smelling food, getting pumped up, getting the jitters, can't wait. Or if you're going to hang out with your friends or something, it seems like time's going so slow. It's like, I just want to get out of here and hang out with buddies. Right, my heart rate increases. I'm getting a little nervous, a little anxious. Okay, that's a sympathetic nervous system. But remember, fight or flight. Okay, parasympathetic. All right, so this calms the body down. I guess a quote you could say: rest and digest. Okay, so rest and digest. So as the sympathetic nervous system is exciting your body, right? It's to a point where you're going through an experience that your heart rate increases, like I mentioned. The parasympathetic acts pretty much as a way to calm yourself down. All right? It's lowering your blood pressure. It's lowering your heart rate. Okay, it's causing you to calm down. So when you go to bed at night, right? When you're just chilling out, looking at your phone, I don't know if you're just watching videos on your iPad, whatever it might be, right, TC? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Or when you get home, you just got yelled at by your parents for doing something wrong. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna calm down and call it a night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So there you go. These are the branches of the nervous system I'd like you to know. Okay. Obviously, we're going to start off with the central nervous system, two priority, two main, the brain and the spinal cord, and we'll have the peripheral nervous system, which consists of the autonomic and somatic systems. The somatic, remember, voluntary. So these are movements we think about. These movements we perform, like in practice, or doing a sport or hobby, or just plain and simple. I'm moving my hands just when I'm talking. I don't know what to do with my hands, right? Talladega Nights. Yeah. Yeah, autonomic, okay, involuntary. So we don't have to think about these things, okay, they just happen. Right? This is like movements for our organs, right? Our heart just kind of works on its own. We don't have to think about it. Breathing, we don't have to think about it. Okay, many different actions like that just happen automatically. So autonomic, automatically. Okay, kind of an easy way to remember it. Involuntary movements. And from the autonomic system, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Sympathetic, remember, fight or flight, it's excitement, right? Our blood pressure, our heart rate's increasing. Might be because we're anxious about something, nervous about something. We might be doing an activity, right? When we're running, jogging, okay? Or exercising, whatever it might be. And then the parasympathetic acts as a way to try to, it's called rest or digest, right? To calm ourselves down. So after an activity or exercise, we need to try to calm down. Our heart rate decreases, our blood pressure decreases, and this is the part where we just kind of rest and bring it back to normal states, our normal our normal functions. All right, so real quick, the sympathetic nervous system. So on your slides, you can check these out. I think this really helps understand this a little bit better. So sympathetic, remember, exciting, right? We're trying to increase our movement, okay, and how that happens. And we have the parasympathetic, right? It slows heartbeat. Okay, so rest and digest. Parasympathetic, sympathetic, fight or flight. Easy way to remember those. And then, well, let's get to it. Here's kind of a branch here that can help you for your like I just drew up on the board here. That helps understanding a little bit more of the nervous system and like what I like you to know about it. So for a short answer, maybe on a quiz or a test, I know there's a lot there, okay, a lot of information, but if you break it down and understand how I explained it, that works out pretty well, and you can use that as a study tool for your upcoming exam. So make sure you remember this probably be up on a short answer. So different parts and examples of it, how we can relate it to something that obviously we can know a little bit better and help understand it. All right, is there any questions on that? You good? All right, so I'll let you guys work on this. So page 156, 158 on the online textbook. That's I posted on Google Classroom for you. Here it is. Okay, use this as a study tool. Like I said, this will be very beneficial for you. Okay, it just describes the nervous system. Okay, here's a to answer those questions. So I'm going to play a video for you real quick.